Chapter 132 to 135. While running in the direction of where I sent Jiren, he suddenly charges out of nowhere and kicks me in the stomach, which I blocked in time, but I got sent backwards a few meters. When I stopped myself, I saw Jiren get into a stance before unleashing a barrage of punches. Copying him, I also unleash a barrage of punches. When our attacks collide, they generate shockwave after shockwave, and this continues for a short time before he sends his last punch that was at least twice as strong as previously. Also sending a punch, when they both collide it causes ripples to form in the air, before several shockwaves erupted right after. With us being this close we looked right at each other's eyes, then suddenly started flashing around and attacking each other, causing the area we're fighting in to be some sort of dead zone, which no other contests could enter. We continued fighting till the timer pole in the middle of the arena went down one, and right when it did, I sensed Kakarot closing in on us. Realizing we'd been fighting for a while, I decided it was time to leave, as if I continue I might want to start unleashing more power. Dodging a punch from Jiren, I activate Akari, catching him by surprise, and flash right in front of him while doing a flying double kick, which not only sent him flying in Kakarot's direction, but the amount of force sent me flying higher than the timer pole. Using ki blasts to propel me so I land on top of the pole. Once I landed, I looked down below watching all the fights. Sage, Kakarot and Jiren have just started fighting. Frieza and Frost seem to be doing something evil. Vegeta, he's fighting. Piccolo and Gohan are fighting together, same with Krillin and Tien, while 17 and 18 are by themselves. I must say though, with my help the Z fighters in my timeline are just stronger. I mean, both counterparts of Kakarot and Vegeta are relatively close in power, but when it comes to Piccolo and the humans, the difference in power is huge. While I was looking down, I saw the battle between Kakarot and Jiren heat up, and I decided to stay up here to witness the first appearance of Ultra Instinct. As the battle continued with Kakarot getting pummeled one-sidedly, he suddenly stopped and started performing the Spirit Bomb, while asking for everyone's ki, and as much as I wanted to give a lot of ki to see what would change, I didn't, and only gave a little bit more ki than Vegeta. Luckily my ki didn't cause any problems with the Spirit Bomb, but the same thing happened in the show. Jiren easily pushed it back while just releasing his ki, and eventually, Kakarot got engulfed in his own attack. But while everyone thought Kakarot has been killed from his own attack, he suddenly emerges with tattered clothes and black hair with blue aura, as well with a massive increase in power. Everyone on our team stopped what we were doing and watched the fight between them, and although Kakarot still lost in the end, it was obvious he showed a massive increase in strength than before. When Kakarot reverted back to his base in the middle of the fight, Jiren punched him before firing a ki blast that pushed him to the edge of the arena, but before he got knocked off, I shot a ki blast at Jiren's ki sphere and mine overpowered his, which allowed Kakarot to barely stay on the arena. Kakarot looked up at me while giving a thumbs up before running off in another direction, while Jiren just gave me a menacing stare, which I promptly ignored as I don't plan on fighting Jiren anymore. Seichum, who do I wish to fight? The only people that I'm interested in are Dispo and the two Saiyan women from Universe 6. If I remember correctly, Kakarot's going to fight both of them soon, so I'll go and take them instead. Looking around, I spot Kale and Caulifla in the distance fighting against some random people. Smirking, I hop off the top of the pole before shifting my body horizontally while placing my feet on the pole, and then I propel myself straight towards them. It didn't take long to reach them, but right before I did, they both must have sensed my ki, as they looked right at me, though by then it was too late as I hit the ground, creating a small crater and a huge explosion. Clearing the smoke with my ki, I stand up looking around to find them, only to see them in the distance looking at me warily. Kale looks as timid as usual while Caulifla looks just as a Saiyan should, excited. Caulifla dash, huge physique, a tail, and covered in fur. Yep, you're Sage alright. Kaba said you managed to defeat Hit, so that must mean you're really strong. Kale dash, he's really powerful, we should probably leave. Caulifla dash, how could we leave when there is a super strong person in front of us? Stepping out of the crater, I walk toward them while blasting my ki at them, which causes them to keep getting pushed back, till Caulifla transforms and manage to hold her ground while also shielding Kale. When I arrive before them, I stop blasting my ki at them, and right when I do, Caulifla charges at me while firing several ki blasts, which I easily deflect, but it was all just meant to be a distraction as she punched me in the stomach that I blocked before punching her in the stomach with enough force to lift her off the ground. Bringing my arm out from her stomach, and while she's still in the air, I kick her toward Kale, who tried catching her, but that didn't work as both of them got sent flying, crashing into several other fighters along the way. Flashing right behind them, I catch both of them in my arms and start squeezing them, not too hard otherwise they'll get turned into mush, but just enough to where they'll only feel intense pain, and it seemed my plan worked as Kale unconsciously transformed, growing in size till she was just slightly smaller. Kale dash While yelling, Kale released an amount of ki far higher than caulifla and it was still growing. She then charged at me, trying to attack me blindly, which didn't work as I dodged her attack before grabbing her face and slamming her down to the ground just like what I did with Tokpo. This time though, I started punching her in the stomach repeatedly, which not only caused her power to continuously grow, but also her anger. However, as I was too focused on her, I forgot about caulifla, as she kicked me in the back of the head, though her attack did nothing, kicking Kale in the distance. I turned around. Caulifla dash, leave my friend alone. Sage dash, then make me. Blocking a kick from caulifla, I pushed her away before punching her in the face, and when I did I could feel her nose break on impact while blood spewed out, causing my hand to get blood on it, yet when I looked at caulifla I could see that her face had a big grin on it. Sage, she reminds me of mother. Sage dash, did you know there are still 2 more levels beyond a Super Saiyan? Caulifla dash, there are. Then how do I achieve such transformation? Smirking at her eager response, I tilt my head to the side and dodge a punch that Berserk Kale threw at me before backhanding her, sending her flying back to where she came from, though right after I did that I saw caulifla click her tongue in annoyance. Sage dash, did you really think such a cheap trick would work on me? And for your information, I don't know, I've only recently just mastered my first form, and haven't even achieved the second one, though my situation is quite special, similar to your friends. Though before she responded back, I charged directly at her while launching a galaxy spiral, which she barely managed to dodge before getting clotheslined by me, although that's what should have happened, but Berserk Kale flashed in front of her and blocked the attack instead. With the opening Kale created by blocking my attack, caulifla jumped over Kale and kicked the side of my face. Grinning, I grabbed caulifla's leg with my other hand and slammed her down on top of Kale. Sage dash, your attacks are quite pitiful, can't even do any damage to me. I mocked caulifla as I flash away in the distance, though not before leaving a couple of key grenades that exploded after I distanced myself. When the smoke clears, I see Kale come charging right at me with caulifla following right behind. While both of them seem to have received minor injuries from the explosion, though that was the plan, I came here to enjoy a fight, not eliminate them quickly. As our fight continues on with me fighting both of them, I notice Kale is slowly but surely gaining her reason back bit by bit, as her attacks start better synchronizing with caulifla's. Though all of a sudden caulifla detaches away from the fight, leaving Kale to fight me by herself. However, I'm more interested in what caulifla's doing, so I'm mainly staying on the defensive while watching caulifla in the background. Caulifla's body grows in size while gaining a small power boost, but when I thought it was all over, her power once again grew. This time however her body becomes super bulky before she charges right back into the fight with Kale. Sage, she's heading in the right direction if she wants to achieve SSJ2, but it seems she hasn't realized how inefficient that bulky form is. Now that I think about it, both Kale and I grew greatly in size when we transformed, yet our speed never dropped. I wonder why is that? Probably because we're mutants. Yeah, let's just go with that. Focusing back on the fight, I dodge all of caulifla's attacks while only blocking Kale's, and it seemed after a while caulifla caught onto what I was doing. Caulifla dash, damn it, this form is too slow, I can't even hit him. Sage dash, took you long enough to figure it out, but either way, you're in a predicament. The form you're in is too slow, yet the other form doesn't have enough power. How will you solve this problem? When I said that, she grumbled as she reverted back to normal SSJ before we continued on with the battle. We'd been fighting for a while and I was starting to get bored, so I thought about ending the fight. Catching both of their coordinated punches, I bring caulifla close to me and knee her in the stomach, while also bringing Kale close to me, though I give her a powerful headbutt that caused her to become disoriented. Letting go of their fists, I grabbed both of them by the hair before chucking them toward the edge of the arena, which we had slowly made our way to while fighting. When I arrived at the edge of the arena, I saw caulifla slowly get up, while Kale was still disoriented, but before caulifla could react, I flashed right in front of her and grabbed her by the hair once more. Caulifla dash, ugh, let go of me, it was just about to get exciting. Sage dash, no, I've gotten quite bored, so I'll eliminate you now. I put my hand on her stomach and created a galaxy burst that launched her past the edge of the arena before a violent explosion went off, as I had used more power in that attack than when I was fighting them. Kale dash, caulifla. Turning around, I get to witness the previously berserk Kale finally regaining her reasoning, while also slimming back down in size, but her muscles are still pronounced. Sage, she's the first woman I've seen have bigger muscles than mother, impressive. Sage dash, there's no point in yelling, she's already eliminated, so how about I eliminate you too? I was about to charge at Kale till I heard a voice coming from a distance. Caulifla dash, ha ha ha, what do you mean I'm eliminated, I'm right here. Both of us look out into the void toward the direction of where I sent Caulifla, and there we see her using ki blasts to propel her back on stage while also having transformed into an SSJ2. Caulifla dash, it took a while, but I've finally achieved it, SSJ2. Now it's time for round 2 Sage. Kale dash, Caulifla you're alright. Caulifla dash, but of course, and it seems like you've gained your reasoning back, let us defeat him and show him our power. With their little reunion, their morale was at an all-time high, so they quickly increased their power to the maximum before charging at me with a punch. Smirking, I launched myself directly at them, and when we got close, I punched as well, causing my first to collide with both of theirs, yet neither of us gained an upper hand, pulling my hand back which causes them to lunge toward me, and I take that chance to kick Kale, but she caught my leg, and Caulifla used that opportunity to kick me in the stomach. Throwing a punch at Caulifla, who I missed as Kale, who was still holding my leg, pulled it, which caused me to lose my balance for a split second, but before Caulifla could attack again, I shot a ki blast off my foot that exploded right on top of Kale. With my foot finally free, I push myself off the ground with my hand while using my other hand to catch Caulifla in midair and throw her at Kale, who was running toward us. Once I'm back on my feet, I look at Kale and Caulifla with a smile, before charging right back into the fight. Sage dash, that was an enjoyable fight, but it seems like you've reached your limit. On the ground is a severely wounded Kale and Caulifla, neither of them having enough power even to stand up. Reaching down, I grab them by the ankles and head towards the edge of the arena with the intention of eliminating them. Caulifla dash, Kale, you still got the earring? Kale dash, yeah, are we going to use it now? Caulifla dash, it's either now or never. While I hear them talk about earrings, a smirk makes its way onto my face as I've been waiting for this. When I'm about to eliminate them, they manage to escape my grasp, or I should say she managed to escape my grasp. Turning around, I come face to face with a fused Kale and Caulifla, which in turn make Kefla, a Saiyan woman who resembles both of them, yet even in her base her power is higher than their max power. Kefla dash, ha ha ha, this power is incredible, I feel like I could destroy anything. Sage dash, well then, why not test out your power? Seeing her focus back on me, she smirks before flashing right in front of me, with a speed far surpassing what either of them previously could reach, and punches me in the stomach, which I didn't bother to defend as her power hasn't gotten even close to where she could potentially harm me. When she sees her attack didn't get a reaction out of me, she started bombarding me with punches, kicks, and any other attack she could think of, yet none of them made me move even an inch. Grabbing her fist that was about to punch me in the face, I lift her up off the ground and bring her to eye level. Sage dash, where's that confidence from earlier? Kefla dash, TSK, don't worry, I'm just getting started. After she said that, she pushed herself off my body while trying to knee me in the chin, which I dodged. She then landed in the distance and began powering up. Kefla dash, how you like this, Super Kefla? When she transformed into a Super Saiyan, I noticed her transformation was a mixture of a normal Saiyan and a legendary Saiyan, which resulted in her power having a bigger increase than a normal Super Saiyan, yet smaller than a legendary Super Saiyan. However, it seemed like because of that she could perfectly control her transformation. Sage it's finally getting interesting. After she got the hang of being a Super Saiyan, she instantly charged at me, blocking a punch from her. She flashes behind, aiming a kick toward my head, which I dodge by leaning forward and continuing with the momentum. I do a front flip while almost managing to kick her, but she dodges right in time. While I'm upside down in the middle of the front flip, Kefla attacks me with a ki wave, which I block, but since I have nothing to grip, I still get pushed away in the distance, something I'm fine with because fighting at the edge of the arena doesn't give that much room for movement. When I started getting towards the middle of the arena, I dispersed the attack, and land on the ground, though the moment I do, Kefla starts violently assaulting me with punches and kicks, which I either block or stop with my own attack. While the fight continues, I slowly start using more power in my attacks, and in doing so I thought it would force Kefla to act more cautiously, yet contrary to what I imagined, she tanks all the attacks with a smile as her power grows alongside the damage she accumulates. Sage, it seems she has the ability to grow in power just like a normal mutated Saiyan, then I wonder what her limit is? After fighting for a while, it seems Kefla has finally hit her limit. I don't know if it's actually her limit or if her body is too injured to properly display her growing power like what happened to me with Cumber, but either way, I think it's time to truly end this. Dodging her punch, I grab her fist and knee her in the stomach, which results in her spitting out some blood, and then I punch her in the face, causing her to fall unconscious for a split second before instantly regaining consciousness, only for her to take a galactic burst at point-blank range. When the smoke cleared, instead of it revealing Kefla, it was Kale and Caulifla, with both being covered in heavy injuries that were sustained while they were fused. Sage interesting, the power that Kefla gained while fighting was equally distributed to both of them, instead of it being all directly being transferred to Kale. I guess that's good to know. Though I'm curious to know what their power will be once they're fully healed. Reaching down, I picked them both up and threw them over my shoulders while making my way to the edge of the arena, and only now that I've stopped fighting have I realized that both Krillin and Tien have already been eliminated. Sage not surprising, though I'm impressed they even lasted this long. Let's see, damn, I must have gotten carried away fighting with these two, half of the time limit has disappeared, so I guess that means there are only 50 tacks left, whatever that means in minutes. Arriving at the edge, I pick up Caulifla who has been weakly hitting my back this entire time, and compliment her, something I rarely ever do, before throwing her off the edge. Sage dash, while you're quite weak, I must say I enjoyed the fight, make sure to get stronger so that next time we fight, you can actually push me to get serious. Caulifla dash, I'll beat you next time Saiyagi. After seeing her disappear into the void below, I grab Kale who surprisingly hasn't done anything, and dangle her over the edge. Sage dash, for a legendary Saiyan you're incredibly weak, though you're still young so I guess there's that, however, if you ever wish to learn how to master your transformation come visit me in Universe 7. Though the response I got was far from what I was expecting, as I could see Kale's cheeks visibly blush as she answered me while stuttering. Kale dash, okay, SS Sage. Seeing her act like a human teen in love was more than enough for me to quickly let go of her into the void below, and even when she disappeared I didn't bother checking the stands, I just continued on with my day like nothing out of the ordinary happened. Sage maybe I shouldn't have said she could come and visit Universe 7. Though I'm honestly surprised at how nice I've been lately, usually I'm quite easily angered, but ever since I've left the HTC, I haven't felt on edge like I always do. I don't know how to describe how I feel, I just don't feel burdened by anger anymore. Shaking my head to dispel those thoughts as I could think about them later, but right now I need to decide who I should fight. Sage what a second, without Kefla, how is Kakarot supposed to improve his Ultra Instinct? To be honest, I love a good fight, but I don't feel like having a three-way battle between Jiren, Mira, and me, I wish to only focus on Mira while I crush him. Oh well, I guess I'll go and beat up Kakarot, if he doesn't manage to improve Ultra Instinct, then I'll eliminate him, which means it'll be a three-way battle. While running toward where I sense Kakarot, I took into account how many participants had gotten eliminated, leaving only the stronger ones to stay alive. However, I don't think my action of bulldozing my way through the arena in a straight line is helping anyone else, especially when I happen to trample over someone. To Kakarot I passed by Vegeta who had his eyes closed while letting himself get punched by this dude wearing a weird space suit. It took me a second to realize what he was doing, but I highly doubt Vegeta will ever achieve UI, I mean that technique just isn't suited for Vegeta, heck I believe I have a better chance of learning it than him. A few moments later I arrive at Kakarot's location and it seems the timing was perfect considering Kakarot had just finished a fight by throwing someone off the edge. Goku dash, hey Sage, what are you doing here? Weren't you just having a battle with someone? Sage dash, well I eliminated them after I had my fun, what did you expect? Goku dash, well that's true dash. Kakarot didn't get to finish his sentence as he dodged a punch I aimed for his head, it looked like he wished to question me, however, I wouldn't allow him that moment of peace as I followed up my punch with an elbow to his shoulder and I was about to knee him in the chin but he managed to flash behind me. Goku dash, what the heck was that for Sage? Sage dash, stop getting so mad. You see I'm sure you've already noticed it, but there is another person other than Jiren and I that has enough power to defeat a destroyer. Now here's the problem, I have past history with that guy so I wish to defeat him without any outside interference. However, there is no one strong enough to fight Jiren currently, but that's where you come in, if you manage to fully master that technique you used before, you'll have power equal to that of Jiren, and in order for you to get there you must be pushed to your limits, that's why I'll fight you. When I finished explaining, Kakarot's face which was previously angry now changed to an excited expression, most likely at the thought of mastering that technique, though that didn't last long when I told him the other news. Sage dash, now don't get the idea wrong, I'm not here to train you, your mission is to survive, because do note, if you don't manage to master or improve your technique, I'll eliminate you. I made sure to explain the last part seriously to make him understand I'm not joking and even with his childish personality I managed to get my intent through to him, as right when I finished he instantly powered up to SSG while getting into a fighting stance. I charged right at him and when I got close, I attacked him with a punch that he blocked but when I brought my hand back and went for another punch he teleported behind me, though with how many times I've fought him, I figured he would do something like that, so I grabbed his leg that he used to attack me with using my tail and slammed him to the ground. Letting go of his leg, I did a backflip intending to slam my knee on him, though he managed to dodge right in time, causing my knee to create a hole in the ground. Kakarot used that chance to hit me in the face, and when he tried to follow up with another punch, I blocked it before quickly getting back up. While we fought, I was constantly increasing my power at a steady rate, which eventually managed to overpower him, forcing him to transform into an SSGSS, and although that allowed him to gain the advantage in the fight, it didn't last for long as my power once again surpassed his. He started to stack Kaioken on his transformation, but what he was doing was only delaying the inevitable as I started to slowly push him towards the edge of the arena, forcing him to display more power or he'll get eliminated. While Sage and Goku were fighting, up above overlooking the arena were the stands that housed the Destroyer, Angel, and Supreme Kai of every universe, including the 4 universes that have been exempted from the fight. Beerus-H, what's wrong with him? Why is he fighting with Goku instead of eliminating other people? Kaioshin-M, maybe he has a good reason for it. Beerus-, stop trying to defend those two, you've known the Saiyans longer than I have, so you know they're only interested in fighting. After Kaioshin got yelled at by Beerus, he stayed quiet as what he said was correct. Even when they knew of the threat of Majin Buu, they ignored it and decided to fight amongst themselves. Whis-, ho, calm down Lord Beerus and trust them a little, as has Sage ever shown himself to be a fool. Beerus-, tsk, no, but that doesn't make him smart. Whis-, well, it's not like you can do anything now, can you Lord Beerus? All you can do is wait and see. Beerus didn't respond to Whis, he just grumbled while watching the remaining members of his team, mentally cheering for their win so that their universe can survive. Deflecting Kakarot's Kamehameha with one hand, while using the other to punch him in the face when I got close to him, the punch alone had managed to rattle him enough that he stopped attacking, and I used that chance to bring both of my hands together, lift them above my head before slamming them down on top of Kakarot, causing him to spit out some blood while getting smashed into a crater. Looking down at him struggling to stand back up, I raised my hand and fired a Galactic Burst which had enough force that when exploded it'll push Kakarot off the edge, though upon closer look, it seemed like all the beating Kakarot just went through was worth it, as right when my attack was about to hit him, he easily deflected it away. Once he fully stands up, you could see his hair is no longer spiking up but it's giving off a silver sheen, and the aura he's emitting is neither blue nor yellow, it's bluish-silver, and it seems slightly denser than last time. Raising an eyebrow at his sudden transformation, I fire off a bombardment of ki blasts at him, yet they all miss as they are either dodged or deflected by Kakarot. Sage-, it seems beating you up wasn't a waste, now come on, show me how much you've improved.